Turning now to the business news, I'm joined by Nona Peltier. There's a lot of activity with takeovers at the moment, Nona, and there is interest in big and small companies. What's going on?
Well, it just turns out that our companies are looking a little cheaper now because our dollar's dropped to levels we haven't seen, say, since about a couple of years. So our dollar was quite a lot more, it was a higher value back in 2014. We've been going steadily down since then. And so these days you can buy a New Zealand company for a relatively cheap price compared to what it used to be, even though our share prices have been high in recent months.
So we're a bargain, basically. So who's shopping? Is it America?
It's not just Americans, it's Australians, it's people with companies within New Zealand as well. And of course, Asian companies. We recently had the takeover of Tegel. That was from a Philippines-based poultry producer, Bounty, and that was a successful takeover. We saw recently Infratil and Mercury looking to take over Tilt Renewable, which is an Australian company. We saw more recently there was a offer from Fletcher Building to buy Steel & Tube. That was successfully set aside by Steel & Tube, and right away New Zealand Steel swooped in and took a strategic stake in that company. Just today, for example, we had Tourism Holdings came out and said that a company was interested in buying some of their tourism holdings. So that's the tourism businesses, which are not their core ones. And this also, today we had an offer for SLI Systems.
So this is a tech company based out of Christchurch, yes?
That's right. And they had a Texas-based company looking to buy them. And that offer was, I think, up to, well, they're willing to pay
almost twice, wasn't it?
Yeah, up to 63 cents. And so that saw their share price jump quite a lot today. They were up 87%. So yesterday, rather on Friday, because our market was closed on Monday, they closed Friday at 30 cents and they closed today at 56 cents.
Do we know what's happening with that deal potentially? Because there's, I think, about 60 jobs in Christchurch with that company.
Well, you know, these companies are not being bought because they're looking to just take them apart. These are not corporate raiders. These are by and large, the companies that are looking to buy in this environment are looking to grow through acquisition rather than by developing their own assets. It's much better value these days to buy existing companies that are in that position where they're just starting to turn a profit. That's the kind of companies that we're seeing being taken over. And a lot of the offers that are coming in are not hostile takeover bids. They tend to be, scheme of arrangements. That's a new kind of way for companies to take over businesses here in New Zealand. We have, in the past, we had takeovers that was just basically, more like a less friendly. These days, companies want to do a deal with the board. That's what Fletcher Building was trying to do with Steel & Tube, but Steel & Tube weren't interested. And at that time, Fletcher had offered $1.70, upped their offer to $1.90, even offered to include in there a 5-cent provision for an interim dividend as well, which was sort of basically $1.95. Steel & Tube board still wasn't interested, and then New Zealand Steel came in and took them on for $1.75, I think, 74 about there, yeah.
Okay, so while New Zealand companies are hot property, what's been happening on the market today?
Look, it's not a good day on the market for sure. Our local index, it dropped 1.5%. So we weren't that bad earlier on in the day, but once Australia opened, Asia opened, the mood was definitely down. So we fell nearly 1.5%. That's 129 points down to 8,673. We haven't seen those levels since the end of May. The ASX 200, which is the leader market in Australia, was down 0.8, and in Asia it was looking quite bad.
What's driving it?
It's a number of things. It's the Saudi Arabian thing with the murder of the journalist there. European stocks are worried about Italy and their budget that they're trying to push through. Brexit talks, that's not going that well.
People marching in the streets.
There's all of that. And of course, the other underlying thing, which is the trade worries that through the ongoing battle, lest we forget, between China and the United States, there's a lot of things for people to worry about. And that's definitely turning the market sour, yeah.
And before you head off, New Zealand dollar, how are we looking?
Well, not bad, actually. We're steady. 65.4 US cents, 92.5 Australian, and 50.4 pence.
Thanks, Nona.